Hi, today I'm going to be showing you a scissor pouch, which is one that I've done before. And you've got a little pouch there for little scissors. You can put another one in that one if you choose, some little pencil in there, bigger scissors. And they're really a nice way to showcase the scissors, keep them safe as well. You could put a little tag on the back and hang them onto the wall, or a board that you might have on the wall. I put a little button there. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So what you need to start with is an A4 piece of paper. And what I've done in this circle here is, I'll show you that in a second, is a shape to take that corner away. You then need 3 bits of fabric, a fine piece of lining, and the 2 bits of fabric, 2 face fabrics. Now they're quite soft, they're quite relaxed. So what you're doing, you're laying your lining, doesn't matter which way up, lining's lining. So lining down. Then you're actually going to put the face of that on top of the lining. So you've got that actually together. So that's facing up. Then your other fabric, pick out which side. This has got like a slightly fluffy side, which is the right side, but it really doesn't matter. It looks identical on each side. So you're going to put that, if it was a pattern one, it will be pattern down onto pattern. So now all my 3 pieces of fabric are in place. I'm going to have to put a shape on just one corner. I've got the parcel tape if you've got a little plate or you've got a tool to do that. I find this just as easy. And what you're going to do is just put it so there's a seam allowance at the top here and to the left here. And with a pencil, you're just literally gonna scroll around. And all that's gonna do is just mark it so that when we start to machine, we are actually going to machine around that shape of that pencil line. So now we're going to get our pegs and we're going to peg it all the way round. And it just holds all 3 pieces in place. These pegs are really useful. It saves using pins. And it actually grips the fabrics quite nicely, especially when you've got 3 or 4 bits of fabric and things like that. And just turn it round. Again, it's nicer to be able to pick up with those pegs in place. Okay. So if you're like me, you get to that bit, put those away. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a little pencil mark here, just a little pencil mark there, and a couple of inches, another little pencil mark. So what we'll be doing is starting our machine from here, going all the way round our shape, all the way across there, back down this side to the second pencil line. And what that does is you stop at that pencil line and you started from that pencil line. It gives you a nice gap like that will be able to turn all those fabrics back through. So that's what we've got. Lining, and we've got our other fabric inside facing the main fabric. So 2 main fabrics facing each other. So when we do pull through and turn it back in, we've got both those fabrics with the seams inside. So we'll go to the machine now and I'll show you the next step. So as you can see, we've gone all the way round the shape, back up here and stop there. So there's our 2 markers for the pencil. So we leave that open. So you've got your lining, you've got your face cloth and your other face cloth. So that's what we'll be turning through. But before we do that, we're just going to nip all the way around, quite close to the seam. And that's taking away any bulk. And then cut on across the corner. So we're cutting across the corner. So when we turn through, and come along that side, it's just taking quite a lot off, round that shape. And just nip down that end, down that long length, across that corner, and I'll show you. Oopsie. It's funny when you're trying to do it and film. Right, so we've got rid of those maskers. So we've got nice neat turn, nice edge, and a very fine little bit of fabric left because we're going to turn through now. So we're going to go through this gap here. If if you can see that we've got three things, don't forget, we've got the lining. So we're not turning through that way, we're actually holding the lining and your first piece of fabric, and then we're going to turn through. I put my finger there, push into the corner, go to the other corner, this end, and don't be afraid of it because it's all nice and machine tight. Push through, and then we're going to go all the way through. See, it's quite difficult, but bear with it and they'll all reveal themselves. There's your rounder shape, so you can push that through like that. And then we've got one other corner, which is here. Now it doesn't look like it's there, but obviously because that's close to the edge where we've done our little opening, so you can now see that opening here is going to be pinned or pegged together. But first of all, I'm going to press it all the way round. That's the principle of it at the moment. So you've got all your seams and they're quite rolled at the moment. So what we want to do now is get the iron, which I've already got on. How I usually do it is I roll it over so I can actually get a nice flat seam. And that way, because I've pressed it like that, I can actually get that really flat. Whereas if I'm trying to roll that like that, it's much more difficult. So literally fold it out, get it flat, and just get the iron in there. Make a nice flat edge. And then again, the same the other side, pull it in. Don't be too worried about the creases on the other side because they'll all press out eventually when we do our last bit of pressing. Press the steam on. As you can see now, I've got a nice flat edge here. So when I literally put them back together again, I can literally pinch that and I'm edge to edge. So what I tend to do then is get my pegs and literally you're going to peg it so that it keeps it flat, ready for going back on the machine. And what you're going to do is go all the way around with your pegs until you get to this little bit here, and then just tidy any little cottons and just literally fold that over like that. So you're just folding it, that seam allowance. Do that first bit first and then put the iron back on it. Mind your fingers, don't burn yourself. And it just helps on that side. Get that out of the way, I can show you. Do the same on the other side, just that's this side. When we're doing the second side, you've got the lining and your face cloth, so you're going to fold both of those over, and again, same process, just press it along that edge. Makes it a lot easier. As you can probably see with the iron I'm using, the Oscillo, it's really good because since I let go, it takes it off the fabric, which is such a useful tool. So instead of keep going back over to the other side. So now we've got them both pressed in, I can now pinch them together. I'll peg it, so I beg pardon. And then as soon as I've pegged them a little bit along, I'll show you what that looks like. This is where the pegs are really useful. So where we've got that gap, that hidden little pocket of gap where we turned everything through, peg, peg, peg. You can now peg all the way around and iron as you go, because we want nice flat seams all the way around, because we're going to be doing a top stitch machine line, and we follow that all the way around that curve, which I'll show you once we get there. Go down that last side. By rolling it like that and then pushing, it will naturally go quite sharp because we've done that first press. And then when I do my second press now, it's just really playing ball quite nicely. So it makes your life a lot easier. I'm going to put that there. So what we've got now is a nice sharp edge because we've done the first fold as I showed you, wrapping that fabric out the way. It gives you the real sharpness when you actually want to piece it together like that. So continue pegging all the way around It just helps you to keep that in place because the iron's nice and hot, the fabric's nice and warm. We don't want it rolling back out of place. Because what we're going to do, once I've pegged this all the way across, we're then going to take it back onto the machine. And then the idea now is we're going to, if I show you the plain side, we're going to machine right on the edge all the way round, going past our little hidden secret pocket there, all the way round to the end. So it's all the way round, and then we'll come back to our bench. So here we have our machined all the way round with our 2 pieces of fabric, and our hidden little pocket now is gone because we've tucked it in and machined it all the way around. So now we're going to just press it. If you're interested in the iron, I'll put a link in the description. So I'm going to put the iron out of the way. So now we have our shape. So I'm choosing to have the pattern side down, and what we're going to do, so this point here, you're going to literally take it across to here. Now peg it just for the second, and I'll show you why in a second. So you put a peg in, and then this corner here, you're going to literally get that as sharp as you can, and you might have to move that peg. So what we're aiming for is that. So this edge here has got to be quite a nice point. That's why too much fabric thicknesses wouldn't work, because we really need to pinch that tight. So that's your first shape. So let me peg this corner here. And there's nothing wrong with doing it in stages, and it helps your confidence. So what we're going to do is from this edge here, on the very edge of the pattern fabric, machine all the way down to the very final bit there, and just machine down that length. So now we've got that machined all the way down that edge here. Our next fold is quite easy. You are literally folding all of that edge over, literally right over. Now what's nice is, because I've got this thickness here of the machine line and the thickness of that edge, you're actually folding it close to that edge as you can. Make sure you can feel it. It's quite good because you can actually feel every process. Then just literally put the iron on top of it, push it, pull it away from that edge because it will roll. Bit of a pump on the steam. There you go, whoosh. It's a really good iron. I'm so in love with it. It was quite a good find, so I'm really pleased. Right, so I'm going to peg them, because while I've got the heat in there, I'm going to peg all the way down to the bottom. And now you can see I've got a really nice point here. So what I'm going to do now is machine all the way down that edge, same process as before, right to that point. So back on the bench. So what you're doing now is you're folding over the rest of the fabric. So what we're doing is, that's the look that we want. So where we went all the way down that edge, we're now going to start from here, and we're going to go all the way down that edge. Now I find it quite nice to have, let's put it down now, a little bit of a seam so that I'm not edge to edge. I could do it edge to edge, but what I quite like is to see the main snazzy fabric on that line down there. I think that gives it a really nice look. Whereas if I was to take that right to the edge, I think you sort of lose it a little bit. So again, it's entirely up to you, but as long as you've got that fold, again, put the pegs in. It just helps you be confident where you're going to machine, and I'll show you. So I'm going to literally go quite sharp, but leaving that nice little, it's almost like, it looks like a little piping down there, but I think it's a really nice feature. Again, pull and push, pull and push. Don't ever be frightened of fabrics because they all move individually, and it's actually quite nice. So what I'm going to do here, to create that same line here with that fabric down there, by not putting the fold too far over to the two folds together, I've actually left a little lip. When you get up here, it tends to go too wide. So what you're doing, you're actually easing that across and then pegging it. And I'll show you why. Oops. So as you can see now, the line down there matches the line down there, but what it's doing, it's given a little pocket, loose pocket. If I was to go right over tight, I would lose this edge, but that's actually encouraging me ready for putting my scissors in. So I quite like that little loopy look like that, because that's a little starter, but actually it makes it much more symmetrical with that line either side. I'll put it on the machine now and you'll see it finished in a second. So here's our finished scissor pouch. And what I tend to do is, where this little sort of point is here, I quite like to put a nice little feature. Right, in and out there. I just cut her. But if you want another simple project, please check out this video. And there's our finished product. So you've got a little button there, just gives it, I mean, you could put a button here, you could put little gizmos, a little key ring, hook, it's entirely up to you. But there you go. I think that looks quite nice now. And there you have it. Hope you enjoyed.